Good evening, welcome to the Turn In Podcast, Season 4, Episode 24, the first of a double header in the Louth Derby with the Cup next Friday night. A game that had everything probably, and probably we'll talk about even what happened after the match as well later on. But a 4-2 win for Dundalk, unbelievable win considering what's happened around the country over the last couple of weeks with results. Steph just finished drinking his my waddy there on naked after a bit of pizza, just called him lovely. Steph was at OrielPark. I was watching obviously live on the yellow white TV tonight. From start to finish, I think, I don't think we can deny the win, but I mean, I think has the scoreline flattered Dundalk maybe, or where we probably the better team over 90 minutes overall?
Yeah, definitely the better team. Thoroughly deserved the 3 points. I think come out of the traps flying, put them under pressure straight away. Everyone seemed to be really up for the game, and yeah, we got our 2 early goals, but it was like you were nearly pinching yourself at the start because you've gone 2-0 up, and there's been many games you haven't even seen 1 goal. So look, everyone was really at it. We were taking shots that we haven't been doing and closing people down, getting the ball out wide. Like everything was just clicking into place. We seemed to be solid at the back, but then, as when we went 2-0 up, they were obviously going to have a bit of a spell, and it probably didn't have. I think we sat back and sort of encouraged them to come forward a little bit, and we were sort of saying when they scored just to hang on till half time, get in at half time, and then gather the troops again and go at them again. And look, it was just what we did, and we got the next 2 goals again from Darryl Hogan, some excellent play from Owen Kenny. The way that he plays the 1-2, but the touch and the way that the pass was just excellent. And I was sort of looking from our angle, you were sort of saying, please don't be the side netting, but it was obviously a cracking finish into the top corner, and then, a second's a lovely finish as well. I think the keeper probably won't be too happy with himself to draw the keeper, but we won't worry about him too much.
Yeah, just on the first comment in, it brings me nicely on to my next point. Oshin T2 there, he's all talking about Mayowa, but, Jad Hakiki as well. We kind of saw a glimpse last week. I said last week on the quick kind of snapshot show we had last Sunday night with myself and Chris, he kind of plucked from the under-20s in Shelbourne, and I don't know if John Daly's obviously seen him maybe through the youth leagues. I'm not really sure, but I do remember, and I mentioned last week as well, and we can talk a bit more. I remember Shelbourne fans, or 1 or 2 fans underneath the signing when it was made, that they were surprised it was a permanent move. They were surprised that they let him go. And we saw a little bit of him last week, although he's maybe caught in possession for the goal last week against Shamrock over in Tala. But tonight in OrielPark, a Louth Derby, that type of player, he's going to have to go to a different barber than Ryan O'Kane, because there was times I couldn't tell him apart on the field from Ryan O'Kane. But apart with the exception of that, this boy, he looks, and I know we're very early doors here, but he's obviously grabbed the first goal, a fantastic header coming in from the box from an attacking position in midfield. But he looks a real find here for John Daly.
Yeah, he looks so composed on the ball. He's quick feet. He can pick out a pass. He was impressive, and I think it was maybe a little bit of a surprise he got man in the match, but you sort of can't really argue with it. He opened the score, and he was busy. The central seemed to suit him down to the ground. It was probably been something that we've probably missed the 10, to be honest.
Yeah.
All season, and he was linking well. Seems very, very tidy on the ball, and yeah, look, you can't, for him to come into the Louth Derby and start in a central position and be so busy, because that I think I don't know how you pronounce it, for Drogheda, he was getting in his face and that, but he wasn't put off by him at all, and he kept moving the ball. So yeah, it was a good performance from him. I think there was a lot of promise from the attacking players. In the second half, or in the first half, O'Kane was seeing a lot of joy, and it was going down his side a lot, and then the second half, then it was Hogan, then Hogan's side. So it was all the Shed side. But yeah, look, it was like you were looking like you were creating chances, and that's like all you want. And then hopefully, we were going to take a couple, but to get the 2 early goals, you've a head start already, and they have to come and chase you. So yeah, it was probably the dream start for us. Even Ryan taking the shot and then falling to Benson, it probably fell to the right person, because somebody else might have tried to cut back and take a snapshot, or he just calmed it down, had a wee look and dinked it into the centre, and it was a great header, great finish from the header.
Yeah, like you say, we're not used to being we're not used to catching teams in the hot breed. We're 15, 16 minutes into the game. We're 2-0 up. Two young players, young attacking midfielders have gotten us our goals. In between either goal, we've obviously had a bit of an injury as well with Paul Doyle. Scott McGill's come on through. I don't know the outcome. I don't know if you've heard if there's a major injury like that, but it seems to be just, Goddard's gone down early on his debut as well in the first half. So that was a bit of a, again, we're looking at, I think Flanagan would mention maybe 2 or 3 players at one stage went down in the pitch at the one time. There's a break in the game, including Mayo. But hopefully the injury to Paul Doyle isn't too significant that it keeps him out of games. But McGill came on as well. Even I know we'll talk about the goals, but even straight out the gate, he seemed really comfortable on the ball. Another player that, in midfield that we thought we were going to lose a little bit with Bradshaw missing in that position, albeit he did play left back. We've obviously got Scott Hyde that's gone really early in the season as well.
Yeah.
Another player that's come in, and John Daly might have signed a lot in a week, but they've all, we will talk about Luke Mulligan that's come on later on as well, but these players have, they've nestled in really well, albeit really early doors, but they've given us a nice little balance to the group, and I think that's probably one of the reasons why we've been able to go 2-0 up, albeit a little bit poor after we scored our second goal. Drogheda allowed to come on it a wee bit, but I mean, it's looking good for the next couple of weeks when you consider the games that we have.
Yeah, I suppose it was probably, I don't want to use the term free hit last week against Rovers for some of them coming in, because nobody was sort of expecting us to get anything up there, and we put in I've only watched the first 20 minutes, but we sort of put in a half decent performance, and anybody that I spoke to probably said, we might have deserved the draw out of the game last week. So yeah, it was probably the ideal, like if you were going to pick a game for young lads to come into, new signings to come into, you're probably in this season that we're in, the way it's been going, you're probably going to say, yeah, draw it at home, local derby. Everyone's going to be up for it. And I think Daly was sort of shrewd with his team selection. Like, you've seen a lot of players there. I know he swapped out the keeper, but like you see Mayo coming back in centre half as a local lad. Joe obviously knows what it's all about. You had a lot of players, like even through the spine of the team. Then you had your Doyle, Benson, you had Mountney, Rifle. Like, you had a lot of boys that are local boys. Well, they might not obviously be from the town, but like they're adopted Dundalk players, so they know what it's all about. And for us to get that start, I think it was no coincidence. But yeah, like every single one of them there. Like, you talk about Faulkner, he's obviously played a decent amount of games for Doncaster in League One at a good level, even though he's only a very young lad. And it was the same with the keeper. Like, he seemed to grow into the game. Like, he was coming. He was once or twice he was a bit hesitant in the first half to come for some. He played one of the balls out, and you were sort of holding your breath a wee bit. But as the second half grew into it, you're sort of saying, yeah, look, he's gaining a bit more confidence, plucking balls out of the sky from deep crosses. So yeah, it was positive. Like, I don't think there's one person you'd sort of look at and say he didn't really perform tonight. I thought Joe was excellent at left full. He's
a unit of a footballer, isn't he? That's probably the best. Like, he's, for age and his inexperience, he's all there.
And he challenges for everything, and like he's won so many headers there. Like, I'd say Farrell had a good couple of half a foot maybe on him, but he was able to climb, and great leap, and he's won a good lot of headers. Yeah, in for a bit of rough treatment. I think he might have got an elbow off.
Could have, yeah.
When possibly in the first half, but he didn't. He just shook it off, and I thought he was so assured for such a young lad to be coming in. Like, it was, you could just sense when you're coming into the ground. I got in probably about 7:30 or just after it, and you could just sense there was a bit of a different feel to it. There was a bit of a buzz there. That the shed was rocking, and then they were knocking it, on. But yeah, look, there was a different feel to it, and you just felt like, if we can start this game well here, we'll be on the pig's back, and thankfully it panned out that way.
And I think even after we go 2-0 up, and I don't know if we're just not used to it, or we seem to let Drogheda a little bit back, and we seem to go off the boil a wee bit. You want kind of teams to kind of excel when you're 2-0 up, really go for it. But I'm not saying the game changed, but Drogheda seem to go back, and they did get their goal. It's probably it's a free header as a full back. I don't know if Kyo was just behind him, but he has got a free header. It's point blank in front of the goal. There's not a lot of goalkeeper can do at that pace. But apart from that, really in the first half, Dundalk probably could have scored another one. When you look at the chance they've had, and Drogheda didn't really punish. They've had plenty of the ball, but didn't really punish it in front of the goal. Like you say, Goddard's come in, really young keeper. But then, you can, that naivety or maybe inexperience with Kyo as well. When you've got players like Darrell Hogan had a sensational game tonight, I thought, especially the second half. When you've got players like that to carry that 2-0 or 2-1 into half time, you can almost forgive a goal like that. And, we've been harping on for weeks that these players probably weren't at the races earlier in the season. But John Daly seems to have this impact on them. And it's, like Flano said in commentary, I think it's a calm and, I don't think he's in there probably mouldering them. It's probably like a calm and settling vibe around the place. One or two signings in, like you say, put them straight in, no messing. But when you've got experience like Darrell Hogan coming in, Owen Kenny running, David McMillan, I keep comparing to David McMillan. I think he's sensational off top. He's not getting the goals maybe that you're expecting, but his running and his work ethic is sensational. But, Daly's had this impact now bringing young fellas in, but he's getting football into Darrell Hogan again. I think it was evident tonight, even when we go 2-1 down, he's taking the ball by the horns, isn't he? He looks fitter, he looks more hungry, like you said in your opening bit. They wanted the ball more than Doc. We were challenging more, and it just seemed to be, like you said, a different vibe about the place tonight.
Yeah, definitely different vibe, and like you mentioned, some of the lads there, like Hogan's second half performance was brilliant. Not only was he, obviously he's got the 2 goals, which is brilliant, but the work rate and even, getting the bylines and crossing balls in and just putting them under pressure. But like, if you just go back to the Drogheda goal in the first half, like Darren Markey, like we sort of, if there's one player in the league that you everyone sort of likes, it's Markey. Like, he's a lovely footballer, and you just didn't want him to find the space, and unfortunately he did, and he got picked out. I think Maiwa comes across to close him down, but it's just a bit too late, and it's an excellent ball in the box. But yeah, you'd be disappointed that there wasn't at least a challenge on their striker. He's come over on loan from Walsall, so he has a bit about him, and just for him to be free in the box. But yeah, like I said, I think the 2 corners then the last couple of minutes before half time, and you're sort of just hoping that we can hold on and get in, and then Daly get them going again after half time. Like, so.
Now that he's double checked his microphone, I'm going to bring in the man who wouldn't take the camera off the violence at the end on League of Ireland stream. First of all, just in from Oriel, we've quickly run over the steps with eat more pizza. He's just going to run over the goals and the impact John Daly's had. Like the boy said in commentary, I think Flano, I can't remember Flano or Adrian that said it. He seems to have a calm demeanour. He doesn't seem to be. I'm sure, look, in the dressing room and behind the scenes, if things aren't going well, he gets at it, but. You'll know probably more than anybody in the post-match interviews. He seems to have this calm and influence on them, and
definitely
he's dotted in these players. Like Kiki tonight was sensational. I thought, like I'd be on the wavelength of Steph that not sure man of the match yet, but definitely these signs have come in, and we mentioned last week on the podcast we had Sunday. He's plucked this player from under 20s, and Shelbourne fans, 1 or 2 weren't too happy about it, but we seen tonight that when they play the right way and they play the right players at the right time. We're a real team. I know, look, it's bottom of the table fodder, I suppose, the best way, but there's still a gap to the next team up. But I think tonight we've shown what we can do. I mean, if you take Ryan O'Kane's goal, first time, a couple of weeks ago, he probably takes a touch and tries to drag it out. Whereas he's gone, whatever mindset John Daly has, we've seen it tonight. Of all the games over the last couple of weeks, I know we've had Pats, but definitely tonight, it's really shown through.
I kind of looking over John Daly's matches over the past while, you'll probably say that the Shamrock Rovers and the Waterford game is very unlike him, performance-wise, because we probably left it on the pitch towards, I think we've seen more an honest performance from this, and he's definitely getting tunes out of the more creative players, is one way to put it in our squad. And maybe it's because, because he played as a forward, he's more attack-minding. Maybe that's what it is. But if you look, all of a sudden, Darrell Horgan seems to be a brand new player. Ryan O'Kane is loving football again, and we were questioning Ryan not at the start of the year, kind of wondering.
Mortensen.
Yeah, just kind of that. No, as in we know there's more from him, if you know what I mean. I was driving out and Ryan was on his way down to the car, so I rolled down the window and I said, Ryan O'Kane loves a goal against Drogheda. And he said he can't wait to get to the end of year awards. He'll talk us through every second of that goal. He said, yeah, he's just said, as soon as it landed at him, he says, I'm just hitting this. I don't trust this pitch at all, he said. So he just laughed.
And that's what I said, even when you go back to a couple of weeks ago, probably Ryan O'Kane or Darrell Horgan, they probably try and take a touch there and get it out of their feet, but there was no messing here, like, because we'd seen that we had that kind of momentum to kind of say, no, we'll hit this first time because we can get at these lads. And like, this is what I was trying to say last week with Rory's comment here. You know, even against Shamrock Rovers, even in defeat, we're still playing better football. You know, like I said, it's not that you accept defeat. We could accept defeat against Rovers because the team that they are the team we're not. But I mean, a 1-0 isn't bad up in Tala. You know, like it's a little bit of an error from a Kiki. Then he more than makes up for tonight. But I think everybody knew, fans, you know, players, coaching staff, man, we've all had a reset. You know, I think 100%. I don't want to get carried away with it too early, but I think, you know, we're into July now. We've made some shrewd signings by the looks of it. And that kind of, it's almost a mindset reset of, right, let's forget what's going on. We can only concentrate on what's going forward. And tonight's kind of result, you know, it's a great way to kind of, especially going into the cup next week, you know, it's a double header of loud action. But, you know, I think the fact that we're 2-0 up in no time, and then the second half's only on and we're 3-1 up, and it's Darrell Horgan, and that's kind of what we've been missing all season, that carrying on from the first half. Can we go into the second half with the same momentum? And tonight we did.
It was interesting because in his post-match interview, John Daly said that they weren't even too sure of the starting 11 tonight, because so many new guys had come in and they were trying to give everybody as much chance as they could for it. So they were very late in the selection of who's going there. And, you know, the chat between anyone all week, anyone I was talking to was who's going to be in the back five. You know, like anyone was going to have a go at this. Whether do we start a new keeper, and you know, who's going to be the centre back pair, and you know, I think playing Mayowa was a stroke of genius, because we needed somebody who was going to be a little bit physical in that back line, and be like, we knew when Perrault comes on, he was going to be physical and stuff like that. But James Taylor is another physical player as well, and I think Mayowa really enjoyed that little tussle with him tonight. So if you think about the selection tonight, I think John Daly just absolutely nailed it. And then I think when you look at the subs that he was able to bring in tonight as well, like that made a big difference. It's been a while since we've had a bench that can have an impact on a game, like, but I think he played it well. He even got Luke Mulligan in there as well tonight. You know, that's great to see as well. That we've got, you know, players to come in, but Robbie Mann, you know, getting minutes back in his legs. Jamie Gullen the same, coming back. Scott McGill, I thought, had a great game when he came in, and getting Dan Pike onto the pitch as well tonight. You know, like, they're real strong substitutes to be able to bring in, and we haven't been at that. Like, we've been naming 2 keepers and you know, 3 or 4 youths nearly on the bench over the past while, such has been the numbers. And you think of the exits and stuff we've had as well, and yet you can still bring on a strong bench. Kind of really shows. But I think John Daly said something like, it was a hard decision to make with the starting 11 tonight, and there's lads who are disappointed to not have started, and I kind of thought, wow, there's that level of competition already in there, and that's obviously something that John and staff are instilling, that, you know, you get in and you fight for your place in here, and be disappointed that you're not come in, so when you come off the bench you're hungry to get in there. You know, and I think that's a real shift in the club, because it looked like lads didn't want to come in, just with the atmosphere and everything else that was around the club.
You don't know if that's down to just the negativity, or it's just something we're watching, or if it's actually going on behind the scenes. Like, you know, like Steph, obviously you've played at that kind of level. Like, you know, as you know, if everybody's kind of despondent, is it sometimes you think, God, maybe I don't want to play tonight. You know, maybe I'm not ruthless enough that I actually don't want to. You know, I might not want to take to the field and to leave them on the bench.
Yeah, like look, it's all about mentality and attitude. Like
Yeah.
you know, it's down it's like down to the players themselves, but obviously management can sort of set a tone as well. So it's hard to know until you're actually in that transfer room itself. But yeah, any team or at any level, like it's all about the players in the group. What sort of mindset do they have? Like, you know, you hear of all the successful players if they're left out and you see they're angry and annoyed and they want to come on and prove a point, and that's what you want. You want that level of competitiveness within the squad. So then everyone's pushing each other them little percentages, and it just leads to a bit more success or even a better team as a whole. So yeah, it's great to see the competition there. The boys are fighting for the place. Like even Pike coming on there, like you could see he was attacking every ball. He made one run. I thought it was going to be a reenactment of Gaza Euro '96 where he lost it over centre half's head. I thought he was going to volley it, but yeah, like look, everyone that come on, young Mulligan. Like I was thinking, I thought he was a 6 or a centre half, and he comes on the 10 role and
and was in as well. He probably just lost his foot in a little bit. He was in almost.
I think he could have probably slid Mahan in at one stage and he cut back on his right, and you're sort of thinking, this could be icing on the cake sort of fairy tale stuff here if he puts it in. And look, you can't blame him. Like he's made a decent run with the ball and he's had a shot. Like it's a wayward one, but yeah, like Robbie Mahan coming on, like we hadn't even seen him come off the bench in a long while, and the run for Hogan's first goal, I think it was, like he ran 70 yards possibly with the ball, carried it all the way, and then just when you think he's running out of steam, he just cuts a nice ball back to Hogan, like, to finish it. And, stuff like that, just when we needed it, like Ali, you said, just when you needed it, like in games where we've just been a damp squib, but we haven't been creating, we just seem to just find the extra gear and find the goals at the right time. And yeah, like even like you said, the main thing was players coming off the bench, being hungry, wanting to show, look, I deserve more minutes next week or deserve a start. Like, Gullins come off the bench as well, and you sort of half not really know, like,
Yeah. Ronan, there's nobody reading that. Nobody reads that thanks for stuff, tell you now.
Does he do a decent in the programme?
He did a decent programme, and he won't come on the podcast. Tell you what.
He's too big for this now.
We mentioned just in between the first two goals with Paul Doyle go off. Was there any talk of post-match a kind of injury or anything, or nothing mentioned, or just there wasn't anything about him being injured? No.
To tell the truth, in the back of everyone's minds was just the scenes at the end, and it was absolutely commotion. I think, look, whatever with the football matters, I think tonight we'll probably remember for two big incidents as well. Obviously, the tragedy in this Louth area for Zara Murphy as well. The minute silence before that. That's it's tragic, and our thoughts are with the family, concerned as well, who are deep rooted in football in the Louth community as well. And you see the two clubs come together at the start. It was quite nice and quite poignant, and the scenes at the end is just absolutely horrendous. That you could see it happening a mile off. There was Dundalk fans on the pitch antagonising the Drogheda fans, and then they made a beeline over. We were just so slow to respond. Guards and stewards were very slow to respond, I thought, in separating the two before there was an incident, if you know what I mean, like getting in amongst them. They should have been cordoned off and made sure that nobody could ever access the pitch. But it's just horrendous. We definitely don't need that sort of scenes at this. There was like really bizarre. I saw about 5 or 6 people from the Drogheda section with like golden scarves or something. I've no idea what that's all about, and maybe these are
we'll find that out.
maybe these are some groups coming over Ireland or something, maybe to trying to kick something off or something. But like we don't need, like, you think of all the progression that's happening in football in this country at the moment, and the fight we're all trying to go through to improve things, and there's no need for those scenes, and you can only imagine how heavily policed next Friday is going to be now, as a result of this.
And there might be there could be a reduction then in tickets for away fan. You don't know what's going to happen.
Could very well be, yeah. As a safety concern, you could see how that could happen as well. Like, but yeah, it just there's absolutely no need for that, whatsoever. It really has marred a fantastic victory, for Dundalk tonight. But you can only condone that sort of behaviour.
Frank makes the exact point. When they announce it happens at every game. When they announce that you have to stay behind, that's where you should kind of say, right, let's get moving into place here. Like, when you're able to run 60 yards across the field unapproached, Well,
don't get me wrong, there was stewards there, but there was a handful, but they were overwhelmed at that stage.
Oh, absolutely, you can see that in the video. It's frightening. It's like, I'm all for like a bit of verbal either side, a bit of slag, no problem. But when it comes to that, I don't even mind the flares. I know they're look, that's another issue. But that to gain access to a pitch at League of Ireland level and to run across the field, and look, Dundalk fans have done it before as well. I remember the end of the season game against Cork. They didn't get violent. They made a beeline for the away end as well. They stopped short of doing anything, but to get so close is just,
enjoy your victory.
Kids watching the game there. Like I see that on the screens, a lot of loud schoolgirls league footballers there I recognise from clubs. You can't be watching that. There's no place for it. Not even on the street after the match. There really isn't. But it's soured the game. Look, it's soured a fantastic match.
Well, the thing is that everyone's talking about that now, aren't they?
Yeah.
And you look at that performance. This is a team. What have we scored? Three goals at home all season, and then we've gone and scored 4 in one match. Yeah. That's really what we should be talking about. But it'd be silly of us to not mention those 2 poignant things just for tonight. But yeah, on the performance, I think the early goal kind of rattled Drogheda somewhat. The atmosphere was quite good. From the fans, they were creating that, and as soon as we got that early goal, it kind of quietened down the Drogheda fans a lot, and gave voice more probably to the shed. And then Ryan goes and gets a second and really ignites the home fans. And I thought if we could just get this 2-0 victory in a half time would have been ideal. And I didn't think they offered much at all in the first half, Drogheda, and then they pop up and get a goal out of nowhere. And I was kind of like, it's a blot, especially with a new keeper in. You'd be looking to get a clean sheet and kind of start off and get that clean sheet record working once more. But I think the early goal, like you just said there, Gally, in the second half from Darrell, just really, give it a mountain for them to try to climb, and they started throwing everything at it, trying to play 2 up front and stuff like that, and for Darrell just to seal it off them with the 4th goal was absolutely super. I was kind of laughing though that I was very surprised it was an award of the penalty. I didn't see any of the replays back. Was it a penalty?
Steph will probably be able to tell us. They blamed Anna Masahoon on I think that was the top, but I think it was a Gullen coming in behind him. I don't know if it was Gullen or Mulligan. I can't remember who it was exactly, but he kind of came in behind him. Look, and he's as a fullback or defender, Steph, you're probably annoyed that it's given, but I can see why the ref might have given it. But I'm on the fence of this one. Yeah,
I'll have to watch it back. It's a nuisance when you're. When anything goes into that away end corner, wherever I stand, I'm not the tallest anyway, but just to get a boost up to see his
10 fingers.
You know what I mean? But yeah, it's not ideal. But yeah, it's sort of when anything goes down that end, if it's not clear cut, you have no chance of seeing it. But
Yeah, I think
Just
from the
real-
it looks like he's gone in and Anna Masahoon is tackling him, but I actually think there's a little bit of a, I don't even know if it's a nudge. Again, I'll have to see it, but it looks like he's just come in the back of him. But again,
Yeah.
look, he definitely bought it. I can completely understand why it's been given. If you watch it back 10 times, yeah, you'll argue it. But I can see why it's been given in that kind of speed, and you don't have to replay. I can 100% why it's, because from the referee's point of view, I don't know if I think it's Gullen. I can't remember. Somebody might correct me on that, but it looks like he's just gone straight into the back because the referee's behind Gullen, so that's all he can see. So I can't, and the line though probably had to say the assistant referee probably has the same view of it, but I can see why it's given.
Mayo and the keeper were both down though, so I presumed it was just when the ball came in. Did Mayo lunge maybe?
Yeah, kind of bounced, and then it kind of got away from Mayo, I think. And it's a bit of a
penalty. A 4-1 down, an argument over who's going to take a consolation penalty is just bizarre.
And, like the fact that Brennan had to come in, like there's all like surely there. I don't know if they're in disarray like that they don't know who's taking penalties, but like but the really annoying thing for me is that he kind of half celebrated scoring at 4-2 down. Like that's a frightening. I get him. Like that's mental. You're 4-2 down in that Louth Derby, and he kind of was all for himself. Look, he's a great player.
But it mightn't have showed on the camera as well, but when he scored to make it 2-1, he was sort of telling the shed to settle down. And he sort of saying, this is 2-1 in the local derby here, like,
word from the top.
Well out of place,
Stephen would have been in that corner anyway.
Stephen says it's a penalty.
Yeah, that's it. We agree with Stephen.
So it definitely wasn't.
I think Rory Gilson said it might have been Pike actually. So he might have been on the wrong side.
And a different bar. It was the same with Hakiki and Ryan O'Kane. They need to go to different barbers because it's very hard to find a OrielPark.
Sorry, Kiki has got the boots down and or the socks down in a Jack Grealish sort of a way. So
look, a bit of a height advantage over Ryan. But
it's disappointing they could see them, but
Pike must have hooked him, did he?
He must have just called him. He just welcome to the League of Ireland. Just welcome himself in there. But look, it's in the 90th, I suppose the 91st minute, you forgive it, but it's disappointing. Like you'd like to keep the scores low as you can. But look, I mean,
people nearly saved it.
Yeah.
Very close to it.
Even talking with the keepers, even just go back to Hogan's goal. I know the keepers union was out in Fort. Donald Green was on Twitter, and he was kind of saying they may have signed a dud here. Stockbrook, he gets caught really badly. It's a great strike from Darrell Hogan.
Yeah,
he got caught very central, like it almost
very central. It nearly goes through his hands. It looks like
he almost gets under the ball. It's really strange. Take nothing away from the strike, but it's a really it's a bad goal to give away. Now I'm not a goalkeeper, Chris. I know Carly from Winter League or whatever it is, medals, but you'd be the expert in that.
Yeah, no, you'd definitely be disappointed. I think, like Goddard for his debut, he came out a couple of brave punches. Went down and killed the time when he needed to on the ball and smothered it, and looked to have safe hands. When it was needed to kill a bit of time for him, I think he was okay tonight. He was unlucky with the penalty, like Steph said. I think Wogan wouldn't be too happy with his performance tonight. I think he wouldn't be happy with his defense. Definitely after the first one, he says it, pushes it out to the side. It's come out a fair bit. Like I know it's still inside the box, but by the time Robbie Benson picks it up and chips it back in, like not one defender has got out to Robbie Benson on time. Like you'd be raging that everyone's clearly ball watching and no one's decided to follow up and try to help out when you saved it. And for Darrell's second, his first and his second, one he's beaten at his near post on Darrell, and the second one it seems to go right through his hands in the middle of the goal. So you'd be absolutely raging if you're a keeper on those two. And that could be the difference of getting a draw there tonight when you think about it for them. But Kevin Doherty post match absolutely raging. He said not good enough from his players. Funny, the player we talked about so much, and Gary Deegan sort of a character that they needed some sort of driving force. He says missed it by a mile off, and he said the players need to have a hard look at themselves. That sort of level of performance is not acceptable, and they just didn't seem to act as a team tonight. And he's probably right in a lot of that. It's going to be it's going to be a long week of training sessions with Kevin for those players, I think.
And I think, though, just when you mentioned Kevin, there's a lot of frustration on the side, and you can see it from the fantastic camera work, obviously. But he was getting into it with one or two fans, I think, towards the end as well. It looked like he was talking and kind of arguing with one or two fans. So I don't know if they were getting on his back. They're obviously really disappointed. Oh, look at Louth Derby, no matter where you are in the league, you're disappointed. But there could be a bit of angst happening there. Look, that might have crept into what happened later. We don't know. But there was definitely words exchanged between himself and a couple of fans while the game was going on out of shot. But yeah,
they have a horrible away record. I don't think they haven't won an away match now since something like March or something. 16 games or something.
Yeah, it's mental. It's crazy.
Like if that was anyone else, they'd be under serious pressure in this league.
And I think it's a combination of where we are. If we weren't so poor, he'd probably find he could be on his neck, be on the chopping block really quickly, because I think it's because of our record. That kind of, we were not that far. And then like the way League of Ireland is, you always fancy yourself in a relegation game, playoff. That's the kind of drawback to it. But yeah, I think there could be trouble ahead if the results don't improve it. Like, you've got a cup game next week. I don't know how aligned they are with the cup. Obviously, your league's your bread and butter, but a couple of weeks, couple of games could really kind of spell disaster for them. Now, look, we've no way to be arrogant about talking about other teams spelling disaster. We're not nowhere near to the woods yet, so we might come back to bite us in the ass this podcast. But I think if we play tonight, and I think we can improve. I think we can play a lot better. Like you say, little mistakes to cut out at the back. Keepers hasn't really been tested tonight. I suppose one or two headers maybe gone down the middle of his neck. But look, it's his first game. He's only 19, 20 years of age. But I think over the next couple of weeks, there's a real, like we keep saying, there's a real mental boost here. There's real kind of jump start.
It's a mental boost going into the cup match now.
Absolutely.
Like if you've already beaten this team once, it gives, we said it on Sunday, whoever wins this match has a leg up going in. And Steph, yourself, if you've recently beaten that team, you kind of have that winning mentality behind you and that little bit of confidence, don't you, kind of going into it?
Yeah, especially especially all the new lads coming in, like you said, it'll just give them a shot in the arm and just say, do you know what, we might actually be able to do something here, go on a little run. Obviously the cup's a massive incentive, if you can just take it one game at a time in the cup, and next all you're looking at quarterfinals and stuff, and it just starts getting a bit more exciting. And I look, after that performance tonight, I know they conceded a late penalty, but it could have been 4-1 there, and it's an absolute hammering. So I know we're going up to United Park or Weavers Park or whatever you call it now these days. So
it's name here.
Yeah, it's always going to be tricky up there, and the fans are going to be rattling, fighting for each other. I'm not even going to read that comment while I'm talking. Put off, but we know what the games are like up there. I think they celebrated a bit too much when they beat us the last day up there. So we're definitely due a win. Have to beat them up there. Get a bit of a cup run going. We talked a couple of years ago about being spoiled. It was like
what we did for one of them back.
The end of season game was always in the Aviva, isn't that what we thought?
Yeah, that was our last home game of the season at one stage. So we haven't been there in a while. We got robbed of one during COVID. So that could be just, I suppose, get over this one first and then see what the draw brings us. But I don't think John Daly's the type of character that'll let the lads get too far ahead of themselves. They've not done it yet. So it'll be full focus on going up there, putting in the performance, and hopefully coming away with the win and getting into the hat from the next round.
How nice would it be now to be Mark Carlin, not have watched this game yet and get to just sit down and enjoy it now? I'd love it if he doesn't know the score, it'd be even better. Yeah,
just finished the gig. What a show off! I think if memory serves, he's doing a snow patrol. I think he tweeted earlier on. So he's living the life, Daphne, living the life. You haven't missed anything, Mark. You haven't missed anything.
A boring 0-0, Mark.
Yes, invite us on somewhere soon. We must get on to him. Sharon and Ross are looking for Coldplay tickets, so if you can help me there.
Sure. We're looking for Taylor Swift ones there recently as well, weren't they?
You will, yeah.
I think everyone's trying to guess our man in the match. I think we've named every player in the starting 11 as well so far.
But it's nice to have it difficult. Sometimes, look, there's been great performances in some games, but, there's, like Steph said earlier on, you couldn't really fault. I mean, obviously, with the subs that come on late, maybe, but you couldn't really fault anybody tonight. Like, we've all been, there's not really many you could say, well, he's not in the running.
Although, would you say, like, during our run of, clean sheets at home and that, we were probably talking about a strong defensive performance, and we were probably naming someone along the back four, whether it was Archie Davis or Zach Johnson, Zach Bradge. We're probably looking at players further up the field tonight for a change.
Yeah.
That makes a big difference as well, and I think that's just part of the shift and change as well. For John Daly and this team, I don't think anyone's seen the 3-2 victory in Richmond that time, and to go and another game, and he's encouraged the lads to go and get 4 tonight as well. So it's
that's the mental shift that
I think it's a confidence thing or something.
It is, and like a couple of months ago, you were talking, let's just keep the ball out of the net for as long as possible. But now it's like, let's play, let's go at them. I'm not saying that Stevie and them weren't at that, but it just wasn't clicking. Whereas now they seem to have a new lease of life, where they're given a bit of freedom. Maybe I don't know what the tactics are there for everybody to see. It's let's play football, let's get at them early. Like fullbacks getting forward. Now Archie Davis would have always gotten forward, but tonight we've seemed to have a whole package, a nice balance to it. Like you mentioned, Chris, we were worried for Rhino Kane in the start of the season. We thought it's just not going to happen from this year, and we might find him on the bench for the right. But now you've got this new lease, Hakaki coming in. You've got some new players. McGill again come on tonight. We spoke about earlier. Seems to be just a really good footballer. Which is, I know that's really kind of just if you can play football, but that you need a solid player in there. That kind of. Someone like Scott High, maybe like a Greg Sloggart, that we haven't probably had without being disrespectful to anybody that's there at the minute. But with Paul Doyle coming in and out of the squad, Robbie Benson, I don't think we've mentioned Robbie Benson.
I thought Scott McGill actually just slotted in really well tonight.
Some of us got himself tonight, just no feel, absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
Like and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for these lads who come in now. We don't have the luxury of time to bed them in or anything like that. So, when these guys get the opportunity like tonight for an injury or whatever it is, or, Robbie Mann coming on there and that, you just need them to take those opportunities and really grasp it and take it on. And I think even looking at Jad Hakiki, I think, like John Daly didn't say he just, plucked them out of nowhere or anything like that. Like he had researched them. He liked them in the under-20s. He'd seen limited opportunities he was getting at Shelton, realised there was a player that he could really, mould and possibly, well, obviously benefit this team. And I really think there's a player there, lads. I think he's one of them. Do you know what I liked about him? 2 or 3 times long balls or a clearance or whatever, like a hooked clearance from our defenders come in. And I think too often at the start of the season, we were just getting our head and just kind of moving the ball further down the pitch. But Akiki wants to chest it. He wants to get the ball down to his feet, turn, take on players. Like he's definitely one of them players that he absolutely kind of get you going, if you know what I mean. Like he's an exciting sort of a player. He's forward thinking player. He wants to get on the ball and make things happen. But I just thought 2-3 times there tonight, there's maybe 2 players around him, yet he's got the calmness, the composure and the skill to take it down and turn his body and take on the 2 players and beat them. And then all of a sudden when he does that, we're on the front foot, they're on the back foot, we're attacking in numbers. And, there were things we were dreaming of at the start of the season. We were thinking hook clearance and then another hook clearance, just, it's gone out for a goal kick for them, then the opposite end and we regroup again. But not now, whether that's a shift in mentality in how we're playing, but I think also in personnel has helped us as well. And
he's probably going, Steph, sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, look, he's brave to pick up the balls in those tight areas, and look at just the way he moves along, like he sort of like he's gliding along, isn't it? So
he's absolutely.
if someone gets tight to him, then he seems to just knock the ball by him, and then obviously they have to drop off him, which gives him more time on the ball. So yeah, look, he looks, from the little bit I've seen of him today, he looks a right player. Like I think a lot of Shell's fans were sort of disappointed when he was leaving. I don't know if he's if he's injury problems or something like that. It's a bit of a strange one how he was so young and he played like 20 games last season and then he didn't seem to be involved a lot. But look, you'd like to think someone and all.
Maybe his Shells were in a different position, Steph. They got the luxury of bringing him in, and maybe Duff was just.
Would he be a victim of the way Duff plays? You know,
I was going to say maybe he just didn't suit the system there because they sort of play a target man and then like they have sort of similar midfielders in Coyle who sort of breaks the lines a lot, and you know you have Lunny who just sits there as well. So look, maybe he just didn't suit the system there or whatever it may be. But look, we'll gladly take him. And look, the couple of players that probably have left have probably been our best players this year, which would have held on to the jerseys. But nobody else you can look around and not really say there's many players there that, you know, they deserve, if they have a bad game, they deserve to hold on to the jersey because, you know, we've been that poor for so long. So yeah, look, it's real shot in the arm stuff. New players coming in, wanting to play, having a bit of quality, bit of fight, desire, everything when you sign a player that you want, they've showed that tonight. So we've seen a few false dawns, so like hopefully, look, feet in the ground sort of stuff, and they continue that hunger and desire, you know, following in. It's probably a good thing that we have Drogheda straight away again in the cup. Maybe if it was you know, a first division side away from home, you might have a bit of a damp squib or a drop performance or something like that. But we know we have to be all guns blazing for this again. So look, it might be a good thing that we've drawn it away, just to keep building on a momentum sort of thing. That's from my point of view. I think I put it up already. Just John to a text in there. Would there be an argument for this? Would there be something? You know, considering they've been in trouble, would there be something? Could this be coming down the line maybe for next week? Which is such a pity because it's a cup game and, you know, a Louth Derby cup game. But could we be looking at it behind closed doors? Would it get that dramatic? You know, just put it out there. There's something. Whether it's going to be a reduced capacity or something, I would say, because the FAI and the Garda Síochána won't, you know, they won't be happy having to police it the game next week as a stand and, you know, as a fixture similar to this. Yeah. So you would say there's something coming down the line on that. What it is, it's hard to tell if it's going to be a behind closed doors. It'd be an absolute shame if it is for fans on both sides. But at the same time, we can't have things like that happening as well. So not with families and everything. Do you think clubs will hand out bans to individuals as well? There's a lot of videos floating around and people are easily recognizable, I suppose, in them, but you know what's a shame. And
I've seen club officials, you know, talking to several cameramen and stuff there tonight, like photographers and stuff like that. So they'll have identified people on that, and I suppose part of it, they're going to have to make a report back to the FAI on this. And you think how hard the FAI have been with the flares and stuff that's come onto the pitch previously. This is 10 times worse than that. Yeah. You've already had flares here tonight, and then you've got a pitch invasion and the mass brawl on the pitch. Like it's shocking. So something that definitely will happen. I just have a funny feeling it'll be reduced capacity, maybe limit the number of fans that's there, and I'm hoping it's not going to be an away fan ban. But that tends to be what the FAI
they kind of set that precedent, didn't they?
They have. So that'd be the things you'd be worried about.
Yeah, we talked about, you know, creating this family atmosphere, going to games, and then, you know, you build it up a little bit, and then this sort of knocks it back 100
Yeah.
miles. So yeah, look, it's totally disappointing. Sean's probably hit the nail on the head there. That after all the goodness of the whole night and the result and the performance, and we're talking about new players, exciting and everything, and then the scenes at the end just totally just knock it back, and it probably grabs all the headlines instead of talking about it. When then there's a lot of people from outside are obviously going to just see violence at the end and fighting on the pitch between the two fans. So look, I'd say there's blame probably on every side of it, whereas Dundalk fans probably taunting the Drogheda fans, like you said, and then them reacting and coming across and meeting in the middle, and the guards and stewards not being able to react quick enough, or not being trained properly, or whatever it may be. Some, like the stewards, are just there as volunteers, so it's hard to point the finger.
You have a lot of sympathy for them on that, and they're probably trying to also, especially the guys in front of the shed, are trying to marshal and steward people they know. If you know what I mean, it's kind of hard as well when you know those people as well. But like you just said, Steph, I think this most disappointing thing is it's kind of marred a victory that we've just had, a very important victory that the club needed. Yet the headlines tomorrow will be probably mostly about the violence there at the end.
When you get a notification on Twitter there with clear pictures from photographers, when you can see them, you can see the lads straight away, and it's going to be easy identifiable for someone. But look, you live by it. That's just it's the action that they took. That's the decision they made at the night. So look, you have to live with the consequences.
So something we're not, and I didn't even think about it. And I know there's there's some games in hand and stuff like that. But would you start to get worried about if you're a Bohemians fan, that gap between us and Bohemians? It's not massive anymore.
No.
We
have them in the next couple of weeks as well.
I was going to say the next game, the game straight after, the cup match is against Bohemians, and like if you look at that there and you look at the form guide, like they haven't won in their last 5. They had 2 draws. They have 2 games in hand of us, but if we go and we're to get something in OrielPark in 2 weeks' time, it's got a very bit different complexion on that, hasn't it?
Yeah, games in hand, or like they're not work. They actually got points on the board. It's all points on the board.
Yeah, like if you look from Pat's down, and even Galway, they're only a point better off than us. I know they won there tonight, but over the last 5 games as well. So there's not a whole lot between a lot of these teams. It's just an awful shame that we had such a poor start.
Yeah.
If you look at Pats there, like if we win that game in hand, we're winning 3 points off them. Like, so I'm sure they're pretty much looking over their shoulder as well instead of looking ahead. It's I know what they've obviously. I actually seen a couple of Pats fans at the game tonight. In the Pats gear, brave enough of them, but look, they didn't play tonight, obviously, but. If we can put the pressure on, we start picking up points, the teams ahead are going to start sweating big time. So, and obviously we'll have to play those teams that are above us as well. So, there's plenty of proverbial 6-pointers coming up.
Yeah, and I see Rory Gilson just saying that one of the Bows games is a Dublin Derby as well against Shamrock Rovers. So. They haven't been faring out too well in those of late either. So it's the old cliche, but you would in the other games, shells they have. Oh Jesus!
I mean, just looking at the games towards the far end of the season, you've got and if you go backwards, it's Drogheda, Shamrock Rovers, Derry, Galway, Bows. Even the run into the last few games of the season. Yeah, if it's still kind of that kind of game in hand, it's a nice wee setup for them, and you're just hoping now. Yeah, like you just said, Chris, Derry, Pats, Shelbourne. Yeah, look, it's between here and August, it's probably sorted all out for everybody. You'd hope.
Well, that's it. Like you're going to come the other end of this month now with the European games, and everyone will be back level. There's going to be a couple of double fixtures or whatever in the week coming up, and everything's going to even itself out. But it's one of those that having games in hand doesn't mean anything. You know, it's the points on the board is the most important thing, and momentum is massive. And if we were to get something and get through next Friday, and then you're heading into that Bows match, like Steph, you kept saying, anyone that could put 3 victories in a row, you know, can change your whole season. Yeah. You know, even if we got the win we have tonight, and you take the cup match as well, if you roll into that Bulls match and pick up 3 points, like you're literally only looking up the table of who can you like. I was kind of writing it off, saying, look, if we can get the playoff spots, probably the best we can get. But actually looking at the table now, I'm thinking, is there a chance we can pull somebody else into this? And I think with the remaining fixtures, that's ideally what you want. You don't want a 2-team shootout, one for relegation and one for the playoff. You'd love to pull some other teams back into this.
Yeah, and I suppose you were looking at Bows tonight thinking they'd probably beat Sligo, or at least get a draw there at home. And then Sligo, the man sent off before half time, and you're sort of saying it'll probably be it. But like, you know, Daily Man crowd, they can quickly get in the back of the Bows team if they're just not performing, and you know that all creates your tension and your pressure. And look, there's
more pressure on them going into that fixture in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, look, we're going up there, and not that we're not expecting it, but the pressure will be totally off us. And you know, if, like you said, if we can just get the momentum, get through next Friday with a win, whatever way it comes, then you're rolling into that game, and your tails are up a little bit, and you're sort of saying, if we can claw 3 points back against them, you know, them games in hand, they'll quickly evaporate, because they'll need to pick up points then by the time they roll round. So momentum massive, like we said, stability.
Well, Sligo just have to get in 3 in a bounce there. It just goes to show, doesn't it?
Yeah, like stability, team, like players coming off the bench hungry. It all, like, you know, it's mad. Like a couple of weeks, everything's doom and gloom, and we're like looking to see where the Kerry home pitch is next season in the first division, and next all we're looking, and Chris is talking about, you might nip into a European spot.
Oh, I'm looking to finish 8th now, pal.
Yeah, the bar's low, but yeah, look, if you can drag Bows and Pats into this, you know.
Imagine dragging Pats back into it.
Yeah,
I'd be like,
exactly.
Imagine, like, what about Bows? Jesus.
Yeah, like we've a game in hand over Pats, and then we're 3 points behind them, and then they obviously have to come down to Oriel in the next wee while after us beating them in Richmond, so they won't want to come down here.
No team's going to want to come to Oriel, you know, at the moment, in how we're playing and the atmosphere and the pitch and everything else as well. And that's and the fights at the end, it's, you know, it's not what anyone wants, but you know, but that's but that's, you know, you got to play on that, you know, all joking aside, you got to play on the fact that we're now hard to beat in OrielPark in particular. If we can just pick up more points on the road, we'll be all right this year. And I think knowing John Daly, he'll be targeting these next two matches in a massive way. And if we can get some sort of momentum, like you say, Steph, it can be an absolute game changer. And it's easier, you know, when you have the momentum and you're going up the league and you're pulling other teams in, you're worried for the other teams. It's gone the other way, who are looking over their shoulder at Dundalk all of a sudden, Jesus, where did they just suddenly come from? And teams who weren't thinking about relegation for the whole season, if you get drawn in, you've got the wrong mentality coming into that, and you're absolutely goosed, you know, because you can't buy a win, you can't buy a goal all of a sudden. Luck's against you. Yeah,
the likes of Pats there, who probably thought, you know, the Pats fans with Kenny coming in and the window coming up and all, like, they probably thought relegation scraps the last thing on their minds. And you know, when you're not going at a full throttle, or you're just not in form, or you can't pick up a win, like, you know, everything seems to seems to go against you. So yeah, like look, we can just focus on ourselves now, keep pushing forward. Even the mentality on the podcast has sort of flipped from us like maybe dreading the game and having to go through all the negativity and everything else, whereas you're sort of looking forward to next Friday already. Looking forward to the match and how the team will play and stuff like that. And it's just flipped on its head. And like football, like it just does that, doesn't it? Like it's like nothing else. It's like nothing else you experience. It can flip around 180 in minutes. Never mind weeks.
If you're on this roller coaster of Dundalk Football Club this year, you're taking these ups now, I can tell you, because ours has been mostly doing loop-de-loops and down.
Only for the roller coaster going up and down, we wouldn't have a podcast.
yeah. I just missed the 700-800 people logging on when we were in complete destruction and catastrophic mode.
That's nice to see.
Good to see someone's busy at work.
Traffic in that profile photo, is he?
Nice to see Pinocchio chip in with a comment now every so often.
Right, back to business.
Back to business. I think what everybody's looking for. I know. I think we had comments that people mad for these man of the match folks. So we'll get back to it because we didn't give one on Sunday night, obviously, because it was a blowing podcast. But Steph, as we start the podcast, we'll be talking to yourself. We'll go with you first for the man of the match pizza tonight.
Yeah, I thought there was a couple of very good performances. I thought young Kyo at left full was very assured, done everything right. Couple of decent performances, like we mentioned, Hakiki in the middle. But look, I think just he stepped up a little bit in the second half, a few more levels than everyone else. And Daryl Hogan, he's picked up 2 cracking goals from his perspective. And yeah, look, I think it was nearly like a relief when he scored the second goal. I think it was like a collective relief that like we're 4-1 ahead, but just for himself, probably to give him that extra bit of belief that, he probably hasn't hit the heights that he thought he might hit when he came back into the league. But yeah, that performance tonight was excellent. And if the work rate was always there, and hopefully now things will just start to slide into place for him. The 2 goals would have done him the world of good as well. So yeah, I think it's hard to look past Daryl Hogan tonight.
Lego.
Or is it?
Me or you, Chris?
Well, yeah. I'm going to go, and then you can be the deciding vote for a change. You leave it with me all the time. Yeah, look, I think Daryl, excellent performance tonight. 2 very good goals as well. Very Daryl Horgan goals too, weren't they? Like they were. It was like watching reeling in the ears with the 2 goals, and it's great to see, and you can see his confidence is growing and getting better. But I just think Kiki for me is just, like I said, he's just an exciting player. You could see it there tonight. He's playing with a smile on his face. He gets his goal earlier on in the game, and that really sets the tone for the whole game. So I'm going for Jad.
There's late throw-ins here as well. See all these people coming in.
I love it. As soon as we start talking, they all start kicking in.
Yeah, look, and I would give it a mention. I know Steph had mentioned earlier, Kyo as well. We mentioned him last week, Chris, as well, last Sunday night. He's going to be, like, if he gets the game time you think he might get, I think he could be excellent. Kiki, yeah, absolutely. Look, great to see. I think there's serious justice in signing a young fella that can't get a game with a Damien Duff team, taking him to OrielPark and getting something out of him, because, what is he, 19? Is he 20?
Yeah, he's only 19, 20. I think we had up, yeah.
A couple of weeks. I hadn't really heard of him. I'd seen the name popped up on subs benches, but I hadn't really heard of him. But, and all that, as fantastic as Jad has been, we had called for, I think we spoke about Hogs over the last couple of weeks, and in and out of the team, not in and out of the team, in and out of games, I suppose, but, when he's fit, when he's on it. And like it's so close. Somebody put up there a photo finish. It is a photo finish, but I'm just going to go with Hawks on the balance of the two goals. And just, because it's back to business. I think, which we mentioned earlier on, that mental shift now that John Daly has with these players, you can see it. I mean, young fellas will come into the squad, get a burst of energy going early doors, and we hope that Kiki can play, and the new signings like, plenty of experience like Pike and stuff like that. But when you get a player like Darrell Hogan to come back, and Benson as well, I mean, Benson hasn't been mentioned much. He was excellent tonight as well. McGill came on, but for me, and Chris is right, we're normally talking about the back line when it comes to these things, so it's great to be talking. We've all got attacking players as an option. But no, for me, it's Darrell Hogan, based on tonight. I just thought he was fantastic. Again, I agree with John, the photo finish, but I've gone the other way with
it. I see Jamie Keown's there, and it was
yeah, he's right. Yeah,
John Flanagan said it to me there. He definitely he's got the way he runs. He carries the ball. It really is a lot like Jamie McGrath, and the way he plays ball as well. So it's good to see. Good to see Jamie back.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought it was a shoe-in.
You were robbed.
I was pipped on the line again.
Yeah, and it is like it's one of the it's great to have a nice wee county competition. Normally it's only one outstanding player. It's whether it's Zach Johnson or Bradshaw or Mayo a couple of times as well. Archie Davis has probably got more peats over the last 12 months than anybody. And I will come back to probably the days of I don't even know who. It'd be McElhenney and Mickey Duffy and stuff.
Fat's got a right few.
Oh, absolutely. Kept people fed for a long time. But we're just going to pick a random. We picked one, Chris. Will I pick it?
Go for it.
We're just going to go with just on a random. I don't.
Me and Dave Tally are gutted here.
Paul McCartan, who surely it's Hogan. Well, not surely. I wouldn't say surely. Definitely. It is a photo finish, like John said. If we probably have another person on the podcast, we might have had a split decision here. I definitely think. But But yeah, Paul, enjoy the pizza. When you're ordering your pizza, give Vinny a shout, or Coke, chips, whatever's on the side there, whatever's going.
I think there was a queue outside Tony's when I was coming through town. So
I'd say that was. Oh, Chris. Yeah, you fought a good fight, Chris, and look, some of the boys back, and it was very close, probably close we've had for a long time.
Dave, if you want to come around to the house, I'll show you the two medals, the shield medals. I will tell you all about them.
If the performance hadn't been that good, Chris, you definitely would have won it.
But look, it's great to have. Look, it's like Steph said, the mental positivity of the podcast. Never mind the players.
Yeah, look, we're back to over the hour show, lads. It has to be a good result.
Over the hour, yeah. We got a 28-minute podcast in here last Sunday, and now we're on an hour and 10. 2
defeats. That's what you get.
17 viewers, but yeah, the whole podcast. So
not too bad. So I think that's a wrap, boys. Is it on a Friday night where we've?
As long as you're going to thank the sponsors, yeah.
Going to thank the sponsors. I tell you what I will mention. I know you mentioned earlier, Chris. I was in RD last night, and just this minute silence before the game for young Zara Murphy. Zara played with Glen Magic. Would have played against some of our players. We were due to play Clermont Feckin tomorrow in Fatima, and our other 14th game, which I'm assuming she would have been part of the squad. But that news last night, I think even getting text messages from coaches, and the Louth School Girls League is a very close league. It's a very close-knit league because we're so young. We're only 2019 since it started, and I think it's knocked everybody for six. Like, Brian Murphy, her dad, is a well-known referee, and adjudicator and contributor to the league. And when the news came in last night, I don't know the girl personally, but I know the coaches involved, I know the clubs. It's a massive shock, unbelievably sad. On the field of play as well, where the incident happened, and for our teammates watching on the club, Clermont Feckin, a great club, in many battles with them over the years at cup level as well, semi-finals of cups and stuff. So just want to pass on behalf of Castle and Beds, on behalf of the podcast, yourselves, can say our deepest sympathies to Brian and Audrey and the family. Ben, I think her brother is as well, and the clubs, Newtown Blues Gaelic Football Club as well, she plays for. Unbelievably sad, but just wanted to recognise that in the podcast and just wish everybody, all the best, and just, we're thinking of them, and it's a shocking time, it really is.
Just to add myself, I obviously know Brian personally. He's refed a lot of matches that I played in, so it's we all have have young kids ourselves, and even people that don't have young kids have nieces and nephews and different things like that. Like, look, it totally throws everything into perspective. So yeah, just thinking of Brian and the whole family and friends out there, it's shocking, sad, and it was, devastating news to hear. So, like, to be involved with the family at all, it's an incredibly tough time for them. So yeah, thoughts and prayers from everyone on our side, I suppose, towards them. So hopefully they take a bit of solace from, the support, and even the minute silence was impeccable in Oriel. Like, usually, you get a few murmurs or whatever, but you could hear a pin drop in the ground. So fair play to everyone for participating in that. And yeah, look, it's going to be a tough couple of weeks, and obviously years ahead for them. So just hopefully they can all get through it.
Yeah, absolutely. So lads, I think that's where we are tonight. Look, a great win in OrielPark. Obviously, look, at a sad note to end on, and it's almost an inspiring note that on your young life taken so early. But look, we go again next week. At hopefully we're all at fans as well, or at Weavers Park. We'll see how we go during the week. But the incident that happened tonight after the game. But we thank our sponsors, Dundalk Village, our gear. I can't show you this one, unfortunately, because it's an old jersey, so you'll have to show me the player football, lads. Sorry about that. Tony's Pizzeria for pizza. Paul McCartan, enjoy your pizza tonight. And until next week, lads, come on to town.
On town.